40 facts about Earth that will help you sleep. There is something quietly miraculous about the way Earth exists, not in grand fireworks or cosmic drama, but in stillness and just the right amount of everything. A little warmth, a little water, a little breath. And somehow it all adds up to life, to you, lying there now, listening, breathing, wondering. This is not a story about survival or adventure, or even discovery. It is a story about enough, about the facts that hide in plain sight, the ones too soft to make headlines, too patient to shout. And yet they are the very threads that hold everything together. They are the reasons you are here, and they are beautiful. In this journey, you will hear 40 soft truths about Earth. Each one is real, rooted in science, but told like a memory, something half-remembered from a dream or a conversation you once had with the sky. The chapters flow like a river, gently bending from one thought to the next, asking nothing from you except that you rest. There is no need to stay awake. The facts will continue without you. They are not in a hurry. They have been waiting billions of years to be noticed. Whether your eyes are open or closed, they will be here, whispering softly about the quiet miracle that is this planet, this place, this moment. So settle in, let your thoughts drift, and let the earth explain, in its own calm way, why it has always been just enough. Balance and beginnings. Before there were forests or oceans or anything with eyes to see them, Earth was already learning how to balance. It turned just fast enough, tilted just slightly, held its breath in just the right amount. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just a quiet tuning of conditions until life could begin. In this first part of our journey, we'll drift through the invisible structures that make life possible, but often go unnoticed. The balance of air and heat, the way sunlight touches us at a distance, the thin veil of atmosphere that wraps us in safety. Each detail, quiet and precise, has been working without thanks for billions of years. These are not stories of survival. They are stories of permission, of how Earth gave life a chance by being almost perfect, almost fragile, and exactly enough. Just enough oxygen. The air you're breathing now is a soft blend of nitrogen, oxygen, and quiet. Oxygen makes up just about 21%, a little more, and wildfires would never stop. A little less, and most life, especially yours, would fall still. But here it is, balanced without applause, waiting gently in your lungs. Oxygen wasn't always here. For nearly half of Earth's history, the air was thick with gases we couldn't survive. Then tiny cyanobacteria began to release oxygen into the sky, molecule by molecule, across billions of years. Their work was slow, invisible, but relentless. The Great Oxidation Event, as it's now called, was not a loud moment. It was more like a tide coming in over generations, changing the chemistry of oceans and atmosphere alike. It created both crisis and opportunity, reshaping all of life's possibilities. Today, oxygen is made and remade in the leaves of trees, the waves of oceans, and the breath of algae drifting in currents. The balance is maintained not by control, but by pattern, a vast, living pattern that includes your every inhale and exhale. You might never notice the way your breath matches the rhythm of the world. The in and out of your lungs mirrors the tides, the winds, the swing of seasons. Breathing is not just survival, it's a quiet agreement with the planet. Too much oxygen, and the world would burn brighter than it could bear. Forests would be embers, flames would spread with no invitation. The 21% we have is not just lucky. It is perfect in its restraint. Fire needs oxygen, but so does life. Sometimes in deep caves or sealed rooms, oxygen dips below safe levels. Minds get fuzzy, time slows, and we remember, suddenly, how invisible life's boundaries really are. We're held aloft by a gas we cannot see and rarely thank. Animals with lungs, insects with spiracles, fish with gills, all of them depend on this same strange element, created in the hearts of dying stars and given new meaning on Earth. Oxygen connects us in silence. Your next breath may not feel different from the last, but it is part of this great balancing act, and the Earth, quiet and patient, is still keeping the numbers just right, just enough oxygen, never too much. You don't have to think about breathing, that's the point. The planet has already done the thinking for you. All you need to do now is rest, knowing the air will be there when you wake. The tilt that brings the seasons. Earth leans just a little, about 23.5 degrees. It's a tilt so small you might miss it if it weren't for the seasons. That gentle angle is what gives us spring and fall, the long shadows of winter, and the lingering golden light of summer evenings. If Earth stood upright, there would be no seasons, just static bands of temperature wrapped around the planet like ribbons. Life would still exist, but not as richly. The tilt creates change, and with change comes rhythm. As Earth orbits the sun, the tilt remains steady, always pointing in the same direction like a memory. This quiet consistency creates a cycle, not a chaos, a wheel of warmth and cold, growth and rest. The seasons are not just weather patterns, they are the timekeepers of life. Trees bloom, insects hatch, birds migrate, all choreographed by sunlight's angle. Even humans with our clocks and calendars feel the tug of seasons deep in our bones. That tilt also affects how much daylight we see. In winter, the sun skims low across the sky. In summer, it arcs high, lingering. The shadows grow long, then shrink, like the earth is breathing in light and exhaling darkness. Without the tilt, polar regions would freeze forever, equators would scorch endlessly. But with it, the warmth moves, like a tide across the hemispheres. Snow falls where flowers once grew. Leaves drop, then return. It's a planetary exhale. Ancient people built monuments to the tilt without knowing its number. Stone circles, temple alignments, shadow clocks. They noticed the sun's path, the way it returned predictably, gently, every year. Even the oceans feel the seasons, though slower. Temperature shifts drive currents, animals rise and fall in great migrations. The planet is tilted, yes, but it is also tuned. You are tilted, too. Your body responds to the angle of light. You sleep more in winter, wake easier in spring. Somewhere inside you, a small part still turns with the earth. So when the sunlight feels different tomorrow, it's not your imagination. It's Earth leaning slightly into the future, pulling the next chapter of life into view. The Goldilocks distance. The Earth orbits the Sun at just the right distance, close enough to stay warm, far enough not to burn. It's a quiet, sweet spot called the habitable zone. Astronomers sometimes call it the Goldilocks zone, where things are not too hot, not too cold, just right. If Earth were only slightly closer, water would evaporate into steam. Clouds would boil, oceans would vanish. If it were farther, ice would take over. The surface would lock in silence, and even breath would freeze. But here we are, balanced between fire and frost. This distance isn't measured just in kilometers. It's measured in moments of comfort, in the warmth on your skin when you step outside, in the seasons that follow one another in peace, in the way life has learned to grow in every corner of this blue world. Sunlight takes about 8 minutes to reach us, crossing 93 million miles of space without ever stopping for a rest. When it arrives, it touches oceans, forests, skin, and stone with the same gentle hand. The light that feeds the trees is the same light that warms your pillow in the morning. It doesn't choose favorites. It spreads evenly, softly across the turning globe. A quiet presence that never asks to be noticed. Other planets are either baked dry or frozen through. But Earth is different. Earth has water, wind, and life, because it sits exactly where it needs to, floating patiently between extremes. This distance is stable thanks to gravity, a force invisible yet unwavering. The Sun holds us gently in place, not too tight, not too loose. It lets us spin, lets us breathe, lets us be. Each orbit takes a year. You've traveled this path again and again, perhaps without realizing. Every birthday, every solstice, every quiet night like this one is another lap around the warmth. Planets don't rush, they glide. Earth's orbit is an ellipse, not a perfect circle, but close enough to keep life comfortable. Even its imperfections are soft-edged. And so tonight, as you close your eyes, you're drifting through space, not falling, not frozen, just floating at the perfect distance from the only star you'll ever need. The thin blue blanket. From space, Earth is wrapped in a thin, blowing shell of air, a fragile blue line hugging the curve of the planet. This is our atmosphere, and it's thinner than you might think. Almost all the air we breathe exists within a few miles of the surface. It shields us from radiation, keeps in warmth, and cradles every breath. It scatters sunlight into color. It carries the sound of laughter and birdsong. It holds clouds in place. It is, quite literally, what allows you to fall asleep safely. The air is made mostly of nitrogen, with a gentle dose of oxygen and a whisper of other gases. Together they form a blend so balanced that it has supported life for millions of years without ever being redesigned. It wasn't always this way. Long ago, Earth's air was hostile, full of ammonia, methane, and carbon dioxide. But over time, tiny organisms began to change that. The air you're breathing now is not just natural, it's inherited. At high altitudes, the air thins until breathing becomes difficult. Above that, it disappears altogether. The space station orbits just above the atmosphere, in a place where no wind blows and no raindrop falls. The sky is not an empty space. It's a shield, a filter, a memory. Each sunrise and sunset paints it with light refracted through layers of gas. That color, that softness is only possible because of this delicate veil. Birds fly in its lower layers, planes skim through its edges. Winds travel across continents, carrying seeds, storms, and silence. The atmosphere connects everything, yet asks for nothing. We don't often think about the air. It's invisible, taken for granted. But without it, there would be no sound, no weather, no breath, only stillness. Tonight you're wrapped in that blue blanket. You may not see it, but it's there, holding you, filtering the stars, and keeping the cold of space just far enough away. It hums with quiet purpose, this thin blue line, and it will still be humming when morning comes. The magnetic cocoon. Beneath your feet, deep below the crust, molten iron swirls in vast, slow currents. This motion creates something invisible but essential, Earth's magnetic field, a cocoon of protection that extends far into space. Without it, solar wind, a stream of charged particles from the sun, would strip away our atmosphere over time like a candle blown out in a storm. But the magnetic field pushes it back, deflecting harm quietly. The magnetic field creates the auroras, northern and southern lights. These shimmering curtains of color are visible proof that the planet is shielding you. They're not just pretty. They're a sign that something ancient and powerful is working on your behalf. It reaches beyond the sky, stretching thousands of miles into space. Satellites orbit within it, astronauts pass through it, and you, lying in your bed, are always inside it, protected by something you can't see or feel. Even birds use the magnetic field, navigating across oceans with internal compasses. Sea turtles return to beaches where they were born, guided by Earth's magnetic memory. It's not just for shielding, it's for knowing where home is. Sometimes the poles wander, north isn't where it used to be. The field shifts over time, wobbling gently, but it always finds its balance again. Earth adjusts slowly and silently. We don't power the field. It doesn't come from a machine. It comes from the liquid core of the planet itself, spinning and flowing in the dark. It is an ancient engine, always humming. Magnetic fields don't have borders. They wrap, bend, curve. They don't ask for attention, but they hold back danger, quietly, every second of every day. You may never feel it, but your compass does. So do satellites, whales, and the tiny crystals in pigeon beaks. The field connects them all in one quiet language of direction and safety. Tonight, beneath your blankets, another one is wrapped around you, larger, older, and entirely unseen. Water's gentle magic. Earth is the only known planet with liquid water on its surface in such abundance. It flows, freezes, evaporates, returns, always moving, always gentle. It cradles continents and curls into clouds. Water isn't just present, it's everywhere. Oceans cover over 70% of the planet. And deep within your own body, water is moving too. You carry oceans inside you, in cells, in blood, in breath. Its molecules are simple to hydrogen, one oxygen. But their shape makes it special. Water clings, climbs, holds heat. It remembers warmth longer, cools things slowly. That's why the sea stays warmer after sunset, and why your body holds heat through the night. Water bends light into rainbows. It softens hard rock over centuries. It carves canyons without force. Even its power is patient. It wears the world down with kindness. It's one of the few substances that expand when frozen ice floats. This might seem simple, but it means lakes freeze from the top down, protecting life below. Without this quirk, winter would freeze ecosystems solid. Clouds are water, suspended in air. They drift over mountains, reflect sunlight, and shade deserts. Each one is made of countless droplets, too small to see individually, yet together they form something vast. Water cycles endlessly. It rains on fields, seeps into roots, flows through rivers, then returns to the sky. It doesn't stop. It doesn't rush. It simply continues, connecting all living things without boundaries. You've touched water in every form, vapor, liquid, ice. You've heard it in rain, felt it in sweat, seen it in fog. It's not just a substance, it's a rhythm. Even now, water is in the air around you, humidity wrapping the night, perhaps a glass on your bedside, a molecule rising with your breath, a quiet reminder of life's gentlest element. And as you rest, the water continues around you, within you, across the globe, circling softly, endlessly, bringing calm to the world. The moon's pull. The moon, always watching, never blinking, tugs at the earth with invisible fingers. Its gravity pulls on oceans, making tides rise and fall. Every 6 hours the water moves, not by accident, but by rhythm. You may never feel it, but the moon is also pulling on you just slightly, just enough to remind your body is still part of this vast turning planet. The tides shape coastlines, nourish wetlands, guide migrations. They are the planet's gentle heartbeat, set by a satellite that never leaves its side. Long ago days were shorter, but the moon's pull has been slowing Earth's spin, little by little, stretching days by milliseconds over millions of years. It gives us more time without asking. The moon always shows the same face. It's tidally locked, a quiet companion turning with us, always watching, never drifting away. Its surface is barren, silent, untouched by weather, and yet its light touches earth every night, guiding sea turtles, luring moths, inspiring stories. Without the moon, our planet's tilt might wobble wildly, throwing seasons into chaos. But with it, we're held steady, like a spinning top kept balanced by a watchful hand. Even the word month comes from the moon. Its cycle is the original calendar. Before clocks and phones, people watched the sky to know what time it was. Tonight the moon may be full or slivered or hidden, but it's there, always circling, always pulling, keeping the oceans breathing in and out. And just as it pulls the sea, it draws your thoughts outward, soft and slow, until your mind is still. Fire beneath our feet. Beneath the crust of the earth, heat builds, pressure swells. Magma stirs in darkness, waiting for a crack, a chance, a release. This is the fire beneath us, not to frighten, but to remember that the earth is alive. Volcanoes are more than eruptions. They are valves for pressure, places where the planet reshapes itself, builds new land, and exhales deep heat. Islands are born this way. Hawaii rose from fire and sea. Iceland sits on a boundary where Earth constantly remakes itself, its warmth rising from the rift below. Though molten rock seems destructive, it is also creative. Volcanic kasha enriches soil, lava forms new stone. Entire ecosystems thrive in these unlikely places. Deep below, tectonic plates drift like slow rafts on molten currents. Their movement causes quakes, builds mountains, and opens oceans, all without making a sound you can hear. The heat comes from two sources, the birth of the planet and the slow decay of radioactive elements. A warmth billions of years old, still glowing beneath your feet. Geothermal springs are windows into this inner fire. Warm pools bubble quietly, offering comfort in cold places. Even in frozen lands, the earth keeps pockets of warmth. Earth is not a static sphere. It moves, breathes, builds, and breaks. But it does so on a scale so vast that its changes feel eternal. You walk every day on rock that once flowed like liquid. Mountains you see were once ocean floor. The fire has always been here, quietly shaping everything you know. And as you lie still, the ground remains steady. The fire sleeps deeper than dreams. Time without clocks. The earth keeps time, not with seconds or alarms, but with motion. The rising of the sun, the changing of shadows, the blooming of flowers, all are marks of time, softer than any watch. A day is not just 24 hours, it's a full turn of the earth, one gentle spin beneath the sky. It begins again and again without fail. The year is a single orbit around the sun, invisible but faithful. As we travel, seasons bloom and wither, birds fly south, snow melts, all life responds to the movement. Even without looking, you know what time it is by the light. Morning feels different than noon, dusk arrives with a certain hush. Your body notices, even when your mind forgets. Ancient trees keep time in rings, ice keeps time in layers. Rocks remember volcanic eruptions, buried beneath newer stone. The earth has no hurry, but it remembers everything. Before calendars, people watched the sky. The stars returned in patterns, moons waxed and waned. Time was something you observed, not controlled. Now we count minutes and deadlines, but Earth still moves at its own speed. The tides don't check the hour, the wind doesn't keep a schedule. Inside your body, cells follow rhythms older than clocks. Your heartbeat, your sleep cycle, the pulses of hunger and warmth, they're all inherited from the turning world. Time, like air, is something you live inside. You don't have to chase it, you only need to feel it pass. Tonight there is time enough, time to rest, time to be. A place that grows. Earth is not just a planet, it is a place that grows. Unlike barren worlds of rock and dust, Earth bursts with green. It doesn't just exist, it multiplies. Seeds know when to sprout, roots find water underground without eyes. Leaves turn toward the sun like it's a promise. Growth is not just a result, it's a language the planet speaks. Photosynthesis turns sunlight into sugar. A single leaf can power an entire tree quietly, and in doing so, it feeds insects, which feed birds, which feed entire forests. Moss grows on stone, grass cracks pavement. Life insists on itself. Gently, persistently, patiently, growth is not fast, it is forever. Even in darkness, things grow in caves and ocean trenches. In the warmth of compost, the planet nurtures life in corners we haven't yet explored. Everything that grows also rests. Trees drop leaves to save energy. Bears sleep through winter. Even seeds wait, sometimes for years, until the world is ready again. You grow too. Even while you sleep, skin renews, thoughts settle. Bones mend. Growth is not a task, it is your natural state. Earth's ability to grow comes from balance, sun, water, air, and time. No single piece is enough on its own, but together they bloom. The soul beneath you is ancient. Every flower was once dust, every fruit was once light. Growth is not just biology, it is alchemy. And so tonight, let growth continue without effort. The earth is doing its part. You only need to rest and let the quiet blooming go on around you. Movement and memory. The earth is never still. Beneath your feet, above your head, and all around you, movement is happening in slow, silent rhythms. Some of these motions are vast and ancient. Continents drifting, glaciers sighing, rivers patiently shaping stone. Others are invisible, unfolding beneath the surface or woven into the wind. Yet all of them are part of the same quiet story, a planet remembering itself through motion. In this part of the journey, we'll drift through Earth's gentle shifts, how plates slide, how oceans retreat, how skies change color with the turning sun. These are not sudden or loud changes, they are movements made over centuries, over millennia. Movements that hold memory, pressed into layers of rock, hidden in ice, carved into riverbeds, and floating in air. Earth does not forget where it has been, it simply moves forward with grace. Each chapter here is a soft echo of the past, a gentle reminder that everything is connected through time. The desert that was once an ocean, the mountain built from seabed, the rain that fell 1,000 years ago and still rests quietly underground. This is a planet that not only moves, but carries the memory of every step it takes. As you listen, you might begin to feel time stretch, not in seconds or hours, but in patterns and flows, like a current pulling gently at the edge of your thoughts. These facts may sound simple, but they are stitched together with meaning, like a long, slow breath the earth has been taking since the beginning. Let this part of the story carry you. Let it move through your mind as slowly and patiently as the earth itself. There is no rush here, only memory, only motion, and a planet still spinning softly in the dark. The slow drift of continents, tectonic plates shaping the world. The ground beneath you may seem still, but it is not. It is part of a giant puzzle, massive plates floating on a slow-moving sea of molten rock. These tectonic plates slide past, bump into, and drift away from one another changing the face of the planet over millions of years. Once all the land was joined together in a single supercontinent called Pangaea. Imagine that, Australia nestled next to India, South America leaning into Africa, and now these pieces have floated far apart, like a drifting memory. The continents move just a few centimeters per year, about as fast as your fingernails grow. Quiet progress, invisible to your eyes, but unstoppable in its purpose. Even mountains are built this way, folded upward as land crashes into land. Where plates pull apart, new crust forms. Under the sea, molten rock wells up and hardens, expanding the ocean floor like a growing breath. These mid-ocean ridges are the Earth's slow heartbeat, hidden far beneath the waves. Sometimes plates slide past each other with tension. Friction builds, then, with a sudden release, the ground quivers. Earthquakes are the tremors of a planet stretching and shifting, trying to find its balance. But even in chaos, there is creation. Where plates collide, volcanoes rise. Where they separate, new land is born. The surface may shake, but underneath, it's part of a longer rhythm, patient, powerful, and always becoming. These movements have shaped every coastline, every mountain range, every valley you see. The land you stand on now was once elsewhere, thousands of kilometers from where it is today. And it will keep moving, slowly, silently. It continues to drift, carrying forests, cities, oceans, and people across time. You are a passenger, always in motion, even when you are still. There is something comforting in knowing that the earth is never finished, that it continues to shape and reshape itself without noise or rush. It is a quiet creator. Tonight, as you lie still, the continents keep drifting, an ancient migration beneath your dreams. The circle beneath our feet, mantle, convection, and Earth's inner rhythm. Deep beneath the crust, the Earth moves in waves of heat. This motion is called mantle convection, a slow, swirling cycle of rock that rises and falls, never stopping. It is the hidden engine of our planet, turning beneath us always. The mantle is not liquid like water, but solid rock that flows very slowly, like honey left in the cold. It carries warmth from the deep core upward, where it meets the crust and turns outward again. Then it sinks, cooler, and begins the cycle once more. This rising and falling movement is what makes tectonic plates drift. The plates ride on these currents like leaves on a slow-moving stream. The earth is not pushed or pulled, it floats on the heat of its own making. The energy comes from within, from radioactive decay, from the heat left over from Earth's fiery beginning, from billions of years of pressure. The planet still glows on the inside, though you never see it. Each swirl of mantle material takes millions of years. It is slower than any clock can measure, but steady. So steady that it has shaped the world without needing to hurry. The pattern never repeats exactly, but it never ends. These motions recycle rock, shift oceans, raise mountains. It is a rhythm more ancient than memory, more dependable than time. You walk on crust that floats like a raft. Beneath that is a warm current, beneath that the core, hotter than the surface of the sun. The earth, it turns out, is not solid, it is layered with motion. Mantle convection is invisible. You won't hear it, see it, or feel it, but it is always there, pressing upward, folding rock, feeding volcanoes, a patient artist working in stone. We are used to thinking of Earth as stable, but it's the movement underneath that creates the stability above. Without it, there would be no continents, no ocean basins, no life. And so, under your bed, under your town, under the mountains and the seas, the mantle turns quietly, slowly, keeping time for a planet that never truly sleeps. Mountains that breathe, how rock cycles shape the air. Mountains do more than stand tall, they inhale and exhale across deep time. Though they seem solid and silent, they participate in the planet's great cycles, including the one that shapes the air you breathe. When rain touches mountains, it begins a slow transformation. Water seeps into cracks, breaking rocks into smaller pieces. Those pieces, washed into rivers, carry away minerals that help remove carbon dioxide from the air. This process, called weathering, is quiet but vital. As mountain rock wears down, it draws CO from the atmosphere and locks it into stone. Bit by bit, the air is changed by the bones of the earth. Over millions of years, these changes shift the balance of gases in the sky. Mountains, through their erosion, help cool the planet. They are part of Earth's ancient breath, exhaling stone, inhaling sky. But the cycle continues. As mountains break down, they are slowly rebuilt. Deep within the earth, old rock melts and rises again, pushed up by tectonic motion, reborn as peaks. Some of the tallest mountains today were once seafloor. Their layers hold fossils from ancient oceans, now lifted high into the clouds. Mountains remember, even as they rise and fall. And still they breathe. Lichens and mosses take hold of bare rock. Trees follow. Forests grow, drawing in more carbon, completing the cycle between land and air. Mountains are not just formations. They are participants in the story of atmosphere and climate. Their heights touch the sky, but their influence reaches every breath you take. You may never hear a mountain breathe, but if you listen quietly enough, you might feel it, in the steady rhythm of the earth, in the calm between each breath of your own. Sleep knowing that the world is tending itself. Even in stillness, the mountains, like you, are breathing through time. Rivers that remember water carving time into the land. A river is not just a flow of water, it is a path of memory. Each curve, each ripple, each drop carries with it the history of the land it crosses. Rivers remember everything they touch. They began as trickles, rain gathering in hollows, melting snow finding downhill paths. Over time, those paths deepen, become streams, then rivers. The land is shaped not by force, but by persistence. Rivers carve valleys and canyons slowly, not with hammers or chisels, but with countless soft touches over thousands of years. Stone yields to water, eventually even the hardest rocks wear smooth. The Grand Canyon, vast and breathtaking, was etched by a single river, the Colorado, over millions of years, not by storms or floods, but by the patient repetition of flow. And rivers carry more than water. They carry minerals, sediment, nutrients. They deposit them downstream, building deltas, feeding wetlands, creating new life where the land meets the sea. In this way, rivers are sculptors and gardeners. They shape the earth, then plant its edges. They remind us that movement and nourishment are not separate. They often arrive together. But rivers also remember scars, pollution, drought, dams. They leave marks. Yet even then, rivers adapt, find new routes, and continue on. They are resilient storytellers. Many ancient civilizations grew around rivers, names you still hear: the Nile, the Tigris, the Yangtze. These waters cradled human history, carrying memories from one generation to the next. If you walk beside a river today, know that you are walking beside time itself. Water that fell as rain centuries ago may still be flowing past your feet. Tonight, let the thought of a river guide your mind, calm, persistent, winding gently towards something larger. Let it carry you quietly into restful dreams. Deserts that were oceans, landscapes that hold ancient stories. It's easy to think of deserts as lifeless, silent places, but beneath the sand lies memory, ancient, salty, and deep. Once, long ago, many of the world's great deserts were oceans. The Sahara, now dry and golden, was once the floor of a vast sea. Fossils of fish, coral, and even whales have been found there, resting quietly in the sand. Time has not erased their presence. These landscapes tell stories not in words, but in layers. Sediment settled, shells hardened, and over millions of years, water vanished, leaving behind a sunlit silence. Wind now sculpts where waves once rolled. Sand dunes ripple like frozen surf, echoing the rhythm of tides that no longer rise. The desert, though dry, still remembers moisture. Sometimes, in rare rains, ancient seabeds bloom. Flowers spring from dust, as if recalling a time when water was everywhere. These bursts are brief, but beautiful, memories made visible. Geologists read the rock like a storybook, limestone and shale, once laid down underwater, tell of creatures long gone and climates long changed. The earth writes slowly, but clearly. Even now, beneath the sands lie aquifers, vast reserves of ancient water, sealed away since the oceans receded. They're like messages in bottles drifting beneath the land. These changes didn't happen in days or years, but in eras. The earth is patient with its transformations. It turns oceans into deserts and sometimes back again. When you look at a desert, you are looking at history, not barren land, but a place filled with memory, shaped by currents long dried up. And as you fall asleep, you might imagine walking across that golden ocean floor, beneath a sky of stars, listening to waves that no longer break, but still echo in the sand. Soul that holds stars, stardust, and nutrients in the dirt. Beneath your feet is something more than just dirt. Soul is ancient. Soul is alive. and in its grains you'll find atoms that were born in stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the phosphorus in your DNA, they all came from stardust, scattered across the universe and settled into Earth. When supernovae exploded billions of years ago, they forged the elements that now rest in the soul. These elements traveled across space, across time, to become part of plants, animals, and you. Soul forms slowly. It begins as rock, broken down by wind, water, and time. Then microbes arrive, fungi, worms, tiny architects turning stone into something soft and rich. What grows from soul feeds life, and what dies returns to it. There is no waste, only transformation. It is a cycle of becoming, carried on the backs of bacteria and roots. Soul holds memory not only of stardust, but of every leaf that has ever fallen, every creature that has ever returned to the earth. It is the planet's quiet library. In a single teaspoon of healthy soul, there are more living organisms than people on the planet, a universe hidden in your garden, moving gently just out of sight. This is where forests begin, where rivers are filtered, where seeds find shelter. The ground is not just the end of things, it is where life begins again. Touch the earth and you're touching ancient fire, cooled and repurposed. You are standing on a cosmic recipe, mixed slowly over billions of years. And tonight, as you rest, know that the soul still holds you. It holds stars, roots, and time, and it asks nothing but your stillness in return. The invisible rain, groundwater, and the unseen water cycle. Rain doesn't always fall where we can see it. Much of it disappears into the ground, beginning a slow, silent journey below the surface, becoming groundwater, the invisible rain. After sinking through soil and stone, water gathers in hidden spaces between grains of sand and cracks in rock. These underground reserves are called aquifers, deep wells of stored memory. It can take decades, even centuries, for rain to make its way underground. And once there, it might stay for thousands of years, moving so slowly it's almost still. But this hidden water matters. It feeds springs, keeps rivers flowing through droughts, and sustains crops in dry places. Even when the skies are empty, the earth still offers water from below. Groundwater isn't just stored, it moves, quietly, gently, following gravity through tiny paths no wider than a root. It's like a whisper of the rain traveling through time. Some of the water you drink may have fallen as snow in the Ice Age. Some of it may have passed through the roots of forests long gone. It is older than memory, yet still part of today. The water table, the level beneath which the ground is soaked, is always changing. It rises after storms, sinks during dry years, a slow breath beneath the soil. And when humans draw from wells, we tap into that memory. We bring ancient rain to the surface and give it new life in homes, in plants, in clouds. The water cycle is not just evaporation and rain. It is a vast loop that moves through earth and air, through roots and rivers, through past and present. As you fall asleep, Imagine the invisible rain still moving quietly beneath you, keeping the world alive, drop by hidden drop. A planet that recycles itself, Earth's slow self-renewal. The Earth is not a closed system, it remakes itself, endlessly and without pause. What was once mountain becomes sand, what was once magma becomes mountain again. The planet recycles itself with slow precision. Rocks are not immortal, they melt, shift, erode, and compress. The rock cycle turns granite into sediment, then into limestone, then into magma, then back again over millions of years. Even the continents are part of this loop. Subduction pulls old seafloor into the mantle. There it melts and rises once more, becoming volcanic islands or new crust. Nothing is ever truly lost. Mountains wear down, rivers carry their dust to the sea, and time presses the dust into stone again. The whole crust is like a soft, breathing skin, shedding, healing, changing form. Plants die and return to soil. Animals decompose, becoming part of the earth. Volcanoes erupt, spreading minerals that feed new life. It's not destruction, it's renewal. Even the atmosphere participates. Carbon cycles through rock, air, and ocean. Oxygen levels rise and fall. What you breathe now may once have passed through stone or sea. Recycling on Earth isn't fast. It's not efficient, but it is thorough. Every grain of sand was once something else. Every cliff has been reborn many times. It's a reminder that change doesn't always require action. Sometimes it requires patience. A volcano waits centuries to speak. A fossil waits eons to be revealed. When you touch a stone, you're touching history and possibility. That stone may someday be soil, then mountain, then cloud. It is never still, even when it sleeps. Let that comfort you tonight. The earth keeps going, gently folding old into new. You, too, are part of something that knows how to begin again. The long memory of ice, glaciers preserving the breath of history. High in the cold places of the world, glaciers stretch slowly across land. They move inches at a time, but within them lies the breath of ancient air, trapped, frozen, remembered. Glaciers are not just ice, they are time capsules. Snow falls, layer by layer, year by year, and compresses into deep ice. In the layers, bubbles form, tiny pockets of air from long ago. Scientists drill deep into these icy cores to study the past. They find traces of volcanoes, pollen, smoke, even the echo of a warm summer thousands of years ago. Ice remembers what we forget. As glaciers move, they shape the land. Valleys are carved, rocks are dragged, rivers are born. Even silence leaves a mark when pressed into stone for long enough. During the ice ages, glaciers covered vast parts of the earth. When they receded, they left behind lakes, plains, and the memory of their passing in every smooth boulder. Today they still shift and breathe. You can hear them creak, groan, and fracture. But their voice is ancient, and their pace is slow. They are storytellers frozen in motion. The water in a glacier may have been snow before humans built cities. It may have fallen from clouds that passed over forests now gone. In the ice, there is continuity. But glaciers are changing, warming temperatures thin them, retreat them. As they melt, they release the stories they've held. air, ash, and water flowing back into the present. And even this is part of Earth's memory. Ice does not resist change. It melts, it refreezes, it adapts. It teaches us that letting go can also preserve. Tonight, as you drift off, imagine lying on ancient snow, untouched, unmoving, while the glacier beneath you flows softly, slowly through the centuries. The sky that paints itself, refraction, sunsets, and soft color. At the end of each day, the sky becomes a canvas. The sun lowers, the light bends, and color pours across the air like ink and water. It's not magic, it's science, but it feels like both. Sunlight travels in waves. As it enters the atmosphere, the light scatters, blue light more than red. That's why the sky is blue at noon and golden at the edges of the day. At sunset, the light must travel through more atmosphere. Blue and green scatter away, leaving behind reds, oranges, and purples. The sky paints itself with the pieces of light left over. Clouds catch this light, stretch it, blur it, reflect it. Sometimes they glow like fire, sometimes they melt into soft pink. Sometimes the whole sky seems to sigh with color. No two sunsets are the same. Dust, humidity, even volcanic ash can tint the palette. The smallest particles create the most vivid colors. Beauty comes from the tiniest things. And when the sun sets over oceans or mountains, the light bends around curves, touches water, breaks apart, and comes together again, a quiet kaleidoscope. Refraction is the bending of light as it moves through air of different densities. You've seen it in rainbows, in mirages, in sunsets. It softens edges and deepens hues. This bending of light is a reminder. Things don't need to be solid to shape the world. Air and light, the most delicate of elements, create the boldest images. Night doesn't fall all at once. It moves gently, painting darkness into the corners, one brush stroke at a time, until the stars rise and the canvas is ready again. Let the last colors of the day stay with you as you close your eyes. The sky will paint again tomorrow. For now, it has signed off softly just for you. Life's quiet adaptations. Life on Earth didn't arrive all at once. It emerged slowly, in warm waters, quiet rocks, and shifting air, not with noise, but with waiting, with small changes measured in patience, not speed. Over time, life learned to listen. It listened to light, to temperature, to pressure. It bent itself, reshaped itself, and kept going, even when the world shifted beneath its feet. Adaptation is not reaction, it is quiet evolution. This part of our story is about those changes, not the loud ones, not the dramatic ones, but the soft, ongoing shifts that life makes to stay, to grow, to continue. Even now, plants stretch toward sun without a sound. Animals adjust their sleep to moonlight. Microbes thrive in boiling vents, and seeds wait decades sometimes. Until the rain returns, life moves in gentle ways. As you settle into night, let these stories remind you that strength can be silent, that survival doesn't have to shout, and that you, too, are always adapting, softly, wisely, without hurry. the breath of trees, photosynthesis, carbon, and silent labor. Trees do not speak. They do not move from where they grow. Yet every moment they are working, quietly, invisibly, turning sunlight into breath. Through the gentle process of photosynthesis, trees take in carbon dioxide from the air and pull water from the soil. With the help of light, they create food for themselves and oxygen for everything else. The leaves are not just decorations, they are laboratories, millions of tiny factories capturing sunlight. Inside, the transformation occurs, light becomes energy, gas becomes life. For every inhale you take, there's a tree somewhere giving you something to breathe. Even if it's far away, even if you never see it, you are connected through invisible air. Trees work slowly. A single leaf may absorb just a trace of carbon, but a forest working together can cool a planet, heal a sky, make silence breathable. Carbon, once in the air, becomes part of the tree, a ring in the trunk, a root underground, a branch reaching toward sky. What once floated now grows. At night, trees pause, they rest, just like you. But the breath they gave during the day lingers. Oxygen doesn't vanish. It waits in your lungs, and then becomes part of the world again. In every forest, there's balance. Trees take, then give. They ask for nothing. They give without sound. Their generosity is constant and always unnoticed. A fallen tree, even in decay, keeps giving. It feeds the soul, it shelters life. It slowly becomes part of something new. Nothing in a forest is wasted. So tonight, breathe deeply. Somewhere a tree gave you that breath, and tomorrow it will give you another. Without asking, without rush, without noise. Seeds that wait for centuries, dormancy, and patient growth. A seed is not asleep, it's waiting. Beneath its shell is a code, an ancient one. Written in silence, it holds the shape of forests and the memory of sunlight. Some seeds wait days, others decades, and a few even centuries. They wait through drought, through ice, through wind, not resisting time, but resting inside it. Deep in deserts or buried in ancient soils, seas rest in a state called dormancy. Not dead, not forgotten, just paused until the world says, now. Dormancy is not weakness, it's wisdom. A seed knows when the world is ready. When warmth returns, when water touches its skin, when light calls gently. The shell softens, the code awakens. A root reaches downward, a sprout stretches up. Quietly, without celebration, life begins again. Every tree you see once waited. A sapling was once a silent, sealed hope. It didn't force its way into the world. It listened, then grew. Some seeds travel across oceans. Others hitch rides on birds. Some fall and stay still, right where they land. Wherever they wait, they remember the forest they could become. Ancient lotus seeds have sprouted after over 1,000 years. Their patience outlive empires. Still they open as if no time had passed at all. Seeds carry more than life. They carry trust. A quiet confidence that when the time is right, what's within them will rise. As you rest tonight, know that stillness is not emptiness. Sometimes waiting is its own kind of strength. You, too, are allowed to pause. The pulse of coral reefs, ecosystems built from stillness. Coral reefs may look like stone, but they are alive, breathing, growing, building cities beneath the waves, one slow heartbeat at a time. Each coral is a tiny animal, just one, but they live together, forming vast colonies. Over time, their skeletons stack, creating mountains in the sea. These reefs are not loud. They don't chase or hunt, they simply stay still. And yet they shelter thousands of creatures. Bright fish, shy crabs, drifting anemones. A coral's pulse is slow. It feeds at night, capturing drifting food with delicate arms. It takes what the water offers and gives shelter in return. Coral reefs change the ocean itself. They calm waves, they hold sand in place. They filter water, all from stillness, all without force. Some corals are older than cities. They've survived storms, heat, even silence. Their walls tell time not in hours, but in layers. Reefs speak in color. When healthy, they glow with life. When struggling, they fade. The ocean watches, and we must too. A single touch can harm them. A slight rise in heat can break the balance. These quiet builders are strong, but fragile, like glass sculpted by breath. Coral doesn't rush, it expands millimeter by millimeter. What seems unmoving is becoming something grand over decades, centuries, lifetimes. Let this remind you tonight, you do not have to hurry. Even stillness has power. Even your slowest days are part of something beautiful. Fungi beneath the forest, hidden networks that feed the roots. Beneath your feet, beneath the trees, there is a world you cannot see, not made of roots or rocks, but of threads, millions of them, stretching far and wide. This is the fungal network, the mycelium, a quiet web of life running through soil, linking one tree to another, a forest beneath the forest. Fungi do not bloom like flowers. They do not shine like stars, but they are constant. They feed the soul. They speak in chemistry. Through their threads, fungi send nutrients. A tree in need can be fed by a tree in strength. What one cannot reach, another shares. This network is not visible, but it's there, passing sugars, warnings, moisture, a kind of conversation without sound. Fungi recycle everything. Fallen leaves, old bark, dead things become food. Life is never truly lost. It just becomes part of something else. Even mushrooms, the part we see, are just brief visitors. Most of the fungus lives underground, working in silence, asking for nothing. Some scientists call it the Wood Wide Web, a system so vast it stretches across forests, connecting life in a way we've only begun to understand. Trees that grow with fungal partners are stronger, more resilient. The forest is healthier when the fungi thrive. Connection makes life stable. So when you walk through a forest, know this: You are walking above a whispering world, a hidden kindness, a quiet support system just beneath the soil. Animals that glow, bioluminescence, and quiet signaling. In the darkest places on earth, some creatures shine, not with fire, not with electricity, but with a light made from within. Bioluminescence is a quiet magic, deep-sea fish, fireflies, glowing jellyfish. They light up not to dazzle, but to communicate in silence. The glow comes from a chemical reaction. Oxygen meets a molecule called luciferin. Light is released, cool, soft, and shimmering. Fireflies blink to find each other. Each pattern is a language, each flash a soft call in the dark, not shouted, but pulsed patiently. In the ocean's midnight zone, blowing a survival, a lure for prey, a warning to predators, a way to be seen or to disappear. Some creatures glow blue, others green, a few even red. The color depends on the depth, the purpose, the story the animal needs to tell. This light doesn't burn, it doesn't heat, it simply exists. Gentle, floating, like stars that forgot to rise. Humans once thought glowing animals were myths, but the deeper we looked, the more we found. Light is everywhere, even where we cannot go. These lights are not loud, they don't fight for attention. They exist to survive, to connect, to guide, the language made from glow. Tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine drifting among quiet lights, messages pulsing gently, soft signals across still water, a world where light whispers instead of shouts. Insects that engineer worlds, ants, bees, and tiny infrastructure. Beneath your garden, behind a rock, inside a tree, tiny architects are always working. You may never see them, but their worlds are vast. Ants and bees live by structure, not imposed from above, but shared, known, inherited. Each one knows what to do without a voice. A single ant may seem aimless, but watch a colony. It's a flowing system. Tunnels, chambers, food storage, nurseries, all built from instinct and teamwork. Bees design hexagons, perfect, repeating shapes, not just for beauty, but for strength. Geometry learned not through school, but through evolution. The hive breathes, bees fan their wings to cool it down. They bring water, they guard the entrance. Every role is filled without complaint. Leaf cutter adds farm fungus underground. Termites build towering mounds with vents and airflows. Insects are not just busy, they are brilliant. No blueprints, no meetings, just instinct, memory, and shared purpose. A society that runs on quiet, coordinated motion. These tiny engineers change landscapes. They aerate soil, pollinate crops, recycle life. They are the small gears turning the world. You may not hear them, you may not thank them, but they work on, tireless, precise, silent, keeping balance below our feet. As you rest tonight, know this. Even the smallest beings shape the largest systems. Their work is steady and even silence can build. The sound of migration, silent maps in animal memory. Every year, animals move, not with luggage or plans, but with memory, a memory not of the mind, but of the body. Whales sing as they migrate, songs that echo through oceans, not just for direction, but for presence, for connection. Monarch butterflies follow a path they've never flown before. They are born knowing it, a map written into their wings. Migration is not a chase, it's a return, a rhythm, a loop that has no beginning, only continuance. Caribou cross icy lands, sea turtles return to the exact beach where they were born. Salmon fight rivers to go home. These journeys are not loud, they are not rushed. They are slow, deliberate, ancient, carried in bone, feather, fin. Scientists still don't fully know how they do it. Magnetic sense, celestial navigation, a kind of compass hidden in the heart. Migration reminds us that movement can be natural, that even great distances can be crossed gently if we trust the way. Tonight, imagine the soft beating of wings, the slow glide of whales, the silent footsteps on snow, moving not to escape, but to remember. Life without eyes, creatures in caves and deep oceans. In places where light never arrives, caves beneath the earth, trenches below the sea, life continues, but differently. Here, sight is no longer useful, and so it fades. Some creatures lose their eyes entirely, others grow translucent skin. They feel vibrations, taste water currents, and listen with their entire bodies. The Mexican blind cavefish swims confidently in darkness. It senses movement in water like a hand reading air. Vision isn't missed, it's replaced. Deep-sea dwellers, like the anglerfish, live in pitch black. Some have tiny lights to lure prey. Others are almost featureless, ghosts drifting through salt. In caves, salamanders never surface, they hatch, grow, and die having never seen the sun. Yet they thrive in silence, guided by touch and scent. Without eyes, these creatures don't seem lost. They are precise, tuned to their world's stillness, designed not for seeing, but for knowing. Evolution trims what isn't needed. It's not cruel, it's efficient. Why keep eyes when darkness is forever, energy is saved, other senses bloom? In darkness, life becomes soft and slow, movements deliberate, decisions guided by sensation, a life not of panic, but of patience. We fear blindness, but in nature, it's not always a loss. Sometimes it's an adaptation, a quiet way to become more than we were. Tonight, imagine drifting in the dark, your senses wide open. Nothing to see, yet nothing to fear, just a soft world humming all around you. The shape of survival, evolution's quiet sculpting. Over millions of years, life has changed, not with loud events, but with tiny shifts. A bone curves, a feather thickens, a jaw shortens. Evolution is not sudden, it doesn't rush. It waits, tests, and adapts. Each form tells a story of survival and softness. Penguins lost flight to swim better, bats gained it from hands. Wings shaped by wind, by need, by patient pressure. Sometimes change is invisible. Bacteria evolve resistance, insects mimic leaves. Every feature you see is borrowed from time. Not all who change survive, not all who survive change, but evolution holds a slow memory, keeping what works, letting go of what doesn't. Survival isn't about strength, it's about fit, a quiet blending into your world, a way of becoming smaller, faster, stranger, or still. The tree that bends in the storm survives. So does the bird that flies before it hits. Shape is memory made physical. We too are shaped by stress, by rest, by seasons and dreams. Your body carries echoes of every ancestor's choice. As you sleep tonight, remember, you are not a single version. You are the soft result of survival's quiet art, still changing, still adapting. The balance of extinction, how endings create new space. Extinction sounds like loss, and it is, but in nature, every end is also a clearing, a pause, a doorway. Dinosaurs ruled for millions of years. Until they didn't, their exit made room for mammals, for flowers, for quiet things. The Earth has had 5 mass extinctions, each reshaped the planet, not with purpose, but with possibility. Life paused, then shifted. When one species disappears, others adapt. Empty niches invite new guests, forests regrow, oceans reorganize. It's not immediate, it's slow. The dodo is gone, but its story remains, in seeds that once relied on its beak, and birds that filled its place. Nature doesn't mourn like we do. It remembers in cycles. Tendings are compost. They feed new forms, new colors, new breaths. Extinction is part of the story, not the final line. The earth is not static. It evolves through letting go. Still, we listen to these vanishings, we learn from them, and maybe, through awareness, we soften the next one. As the night deepens, let the weight of time settle gently. Life disappears and returns, not the same, but still alive, still becoming. Time, light, and perspective. Time does not shout, it drips, dissolves, and gently folds things into memory. On earth, the passing of time leaves marks not just in clocks, but in layers of rock, in the soft path of the sun, and in the way light touches our skin just a little differently each day. Light, too, has its own quiet rhythm. It stretches in the morning, soft and golden. It narrows in the evening, bending through clouds and dust. What we see and how we see it depends on light's slow conversation with space and with us. Perspective is shaped by both time and light. The world may not change, but our angle does. A shadow can make a mountain seem taller. A year can turn a tragedy into a lesson. Where we stand, and when we look, decides what we understand. Earth holds ancient truths in the way it turns toward and away from the sun, in how it leans to create seasons, and how it spins so fast we don't even feel it. Time is not just in history, it's in each moment we overlook. In this part of the journey, we'll explore how Earth gently keeps time, how light helps us see, and how our place in the universe shapes what we believe to be true. These are quiet ideas, but they hold deep meaning. Let them settle like dusk as you drift closer to rest. The sky we inherit, ancient starlight reaching now.
The stars you see tonight are not where they are where they were. Night takes time to travel. What reaches your eyes has journeyed across unimaginable distances, carrying the past into your present. Soft messengers from centuries ago, arriving silently above your head.
Some of the starlight you see began its voyage before you were born, before cities rose, before language. The light from a star 10,000 light years away began shining when the earth was still young, and it's only now touching your evening sky. We inherit the sky as it was, not as it is. Every glance upward is an act of looking back in time. There's something comforting in that, knowing that even as things change here below, the heavens remain patient, unfolding their history night after night. Constellations are not real groupings, only perspectives. Stars that look close together may be thousands of light years apart. Yet we trace shapes, bears, hunters, swans, trying to connect the disconnected, turning randomness into story and darkness into gentle maps. The North Star is not the brightest, but it is steady, fixed because of Earth's tilt and spin. For centuries, travelers have used it to find their way, and even now it remains a quiet guide in the sky, waiting for those who need direction. Ancient people looked up and saw the same stars, the same drifting light. They told myths, built monuments, marked seasons with stone and memory. They didn't need to understand the science to feel the awe. Neither do we. Wonder doesn't require explanation. Sometimes stars vanish. A supernova flares, then fades, but its light continues long after. We might see a star that died centuries ago, its last whisper just now arriving. There's a quiet beauty in that kind of goodbye, a fading echo that still illuminates. The night sky is not silent. It hums in frequencies we can't hear. It sends rays we can't see. Radio waves, cosmic dust, particles from long-dead suns. All of it arriving quietly without demand. A slow, constant transmission from the universe. Light is time's softest form. It touches everything but leaves no weight. And yet it carries all the weight of memory, of distance, of age, of presence long gone but not forgotten. As you close your eyes, remember that you're part of this sky. Your atoms once came from stars. You don't just inherit the light. You continue it. You shine in your own quiet way. Shadows that tell time. How light creates quiet clocks. Long before digital numbers blinked on screens, we looked to the sun. Shadows were our first clocks, simple, silent, and always present. A stick in the ground, the tilt of a wall, even a tree's lean told us where we were in the day. As Earth turns, light moves across the land. That movement casts changing shadows. Each one stretches, shrinks, and shifts like a slow breath, marking the hours without making a sound. Sundials are still reminders of this, carved in stone, they need no batteries, no updates, just the sun and a patient eye. They mark time not by counting, but by revealing what is already happening. Your own shadow is part of this rhythm. It stretches in the morning, shrinks at noon, and leans long in the evening. Without words, it shows your place in time. Across cultures, shadows were sacred. They told stories. They were seen as extensions of the self, tied to the soul, the spirit, the day's passage. Even now, when you walk in late afternoon light and notice how far your shadow falls ahead, you're seeing a soft reminder. You are moving through time, and time is moving with you. Light bends depending on season and latitude. In winter, shadows are longer, the sun lower. In summer, everything rises and shortens. The sky shapes our sense of now. Time is not always a ticking sound. Sometimes it's the changing shape on a sidewalk, the angle of sun on your face, the golden line across your room. When we return to shadows, we return to a slower way of knowing. We become like early watchers of the sky, listening for the silent language of light. As night begins, your shadow fades, but time does not stop. It just becomes softer, hidden behind stars, waiting for the next light to return. Echoes in the stone, fossils, and the weight of memory. The rocks beneath your feet are not just cold or heavy. They are full of memory. Fossils are time's quiet fingerprints. They hold the shapes of things that once moved, breathed, and disappeared. Every fossil is a message without words. A leaf pressed into shale, a tooth buried in limestone, a spiral shell trapped in the folds of a cliff. These are not just remnants, they are echoes. Each one tells of an ancient world, a swamp filled with ferns, a sea that once covered a desert, a forest under ice. Fossils form slowly. First, something must fall into mud, ash, or sand, then time presses down. Minerals replace flesh. Bone becomes stone. Motion becomes memory. Some fossils are tiny, a single pollen grain. Others are massive, like the skeleton of a sauropod. But all carry the same message. Life leaves an impression. Holding a fossil is like holding a pause in time. You touch something that once lived, and yet it feels stilled, and that stillness is wonder. Paleontologists gently remove fossils from the ground like lifting thoughts from sleep. Each discovery adds a word to Earth's long story. Fossils remind us that time is layered. What we see on the surface is only the latest page. Beneath us are pages upon pages, quietly waiting. We walk on what once lived, mountains made of coral, cliffs filled with fish bones. Earth remembers everything. It just doesn't speak unless we ask. Tonight, imagine lying down on ancient stone. Feel its patience. Know that even the stillest places once held movement. And someday your story may settle quietly too. The slowness of clocks, atomic time and mountain time. Not all clocks tick the same. Some are mechanical, some atomic. Some are made of shadow, sand, or stars, but all are human attempts to measure something that flows at its own pace. Atomic clocks count time with breathtaking precision. They listen to the vibrations of atoms, tiny, invisible beats that never miss a step. These clocks don't just keep time, they define it. GPS, internet, scientific experiments all sense to the quiet rhythm of atoms. A heartbeat too small to hear, but too exact to ignore. But there's another kind of time. Mountain time, tree time, the time of snowfall and erosion, of glaciers that move inches a year, time that doesn't count seconds, but centuries. But there's another kind of time. Mountain time, tree time, the time of snowfall and erosion, of glaciers that move inches a year, time that doesn't count seconds, but centuries. A mountain doesn't care what your watch says. It changes only when it must. It holds storms, waits through droughts, and remembers pressure long after it fades. Time in nature is not scheduled, it is observed. A flower blooming, a tide rising, a canyon deepening, all these happen in their own unspoken tempo. Some cultures honor slow time, agricultural calendars, lunar phases, ceremonies held not by date, but by season, by feeling, by the return of birds. Our lives often race forward, but deep time, the kind that shapes landscapes and stars, moves without rush. It teaches patience. It invites stillness. You don't need a clock to rest. Sleep does not arrive on schedule. It comes when the world around you slows, when your breath aligns with something older. Let yourself slip into a slower rhythm tonight, the kind of time you can't see, but can feel, measured not by seconds, but by peace. The sound of a planet breathing, infrasound and geophysical pulses. Earth makes sounds you cannot hear. Deep, low vibrations roll through the air and ground, too slow for human ears. These are called infrasounds, and they are the breathing of a planet. Volcanoes rumble before they erupt. Oceans release long, gentle moans. Even avalanche and thunder have their infrasound signatures. Earth speaks softly in a language of pressure and pulse. Whales can hear some of these vibrations, elephants too, creatures who listen deeper than we do, sensing the moods of their world through tremors and tone. Scientists build special microphones to listen. Set in deserts, deep forests, and under ice, these devices catch what we cannot, the slow voice of the ground beneath us. Infrasound travels far. A volcanic eruption in one hemisphere can be heard silently on the other side of the world, carried by the invisible waves of air. Sometimes the earth hums without any cause, a quiet, constant vibration detected around the globe. No one fully knows why. It may be the whine over mountains. It may be the ocean's weight. It may be something else entirely. We live on a breathing world, not fast like lungs, but steady like tides. Expansion, contraction, warmth, cooling, motion without spectacle. Even cities give off infrasound, traffic, subways, turbines. The planet listens back, recording the heartbeat of its inhabitants. As you sleep tonight, know that the earth is murmuring, not in words but in waves, a soundless lullaby always unfolding beneath your dreams. The cold that preserves permafrost and frozen time capsules. Beneath Arctic tundras and alpine forests lies a hidden memory, permafrost, frozen soil that has stayed frozen for thousands of years, a cold archive untouched by time. Permafrost holds more than dirt. It cradles ancient pollen, buried bones, mammoth hair, seeds, and ice crystals older than language. When scientists dig into it, they find things lost to history, perfectly preserved as if waiting. Sometimes even viruses, still dormant, held in a kind of icy breath. In places, permafrost is deeper than a skyscraper is tall. Layers of past winters stacked one upon another like the rings of a tree turned horizontal. Cold slows everything down. Bacteria stop moving, decay halts. A leaf that would vanish in weeks on the surface might remain whole for centuries underground. Entire forests, once buried in a sudden freeze, still lie beneath northern ground. Trunks and roots locked in stasis, their last autumn caught in silence. But this memory is fragile. As earth warms, permafrost thaws. What was preserved begins to stir. Things long still begin to move again. Gases, life, even secrets. The smell of ancient soil, released after millennia, is earthy and strange. It reminds us how close the past truly is, just beneath our feet. Not all frozen time is dangerous. Some of it is gentle. A seed frozen for 30,000 years bloomed recently in a lab, delicate, white, and quietly alive. Tonight, imagine that the cold beneath the earth is still holding time. Not lost, just paused. Not gone, just waiting. Like a dream you'll return to later. The longest day, how Earth's rotation slows by fractions. A day is not always 24 hours. It's close, but not constant. Earth is slowing down just a little, just enough that over millions of years, the difference becomes visible. When the Earth first formed, days were shorter, just 6 hours long. The planet spun faster then, caught in its own youthful energy. Over time, gravity from the moon began to tug like a gentle brake. Tides pulled against the spend, slowing it down. The days lengthen. Fossils in ancient coral show this change. Their growth rings reveal more days in a year long ago. Over for 100 once, compared to our 365 today. Every century, we gain about 2 milliseconds of extra day. It's almost nothing, but it adds up. Time accumulates like sediment, quietly changing the shape of experience. We try to keep up. Occasionally, a leap second is added to atomic clocks to balance our precision with Earth's subtle lag. This slowing is not a failure. It's the natural easing of momentum, the soft sigh of a planet aging gracefully. Imagine time as a spinning top, fast at first, steady in the middle, slower as it comes to rest. Earth is still spinning, but more gently now. We are living in long days, shaped by ancient forces. The sun may rise and fall at familiar times, but its rhythm is always adjusting. Let yourself slow down too. You are not behind. You are in sync with a planet that is learning to turn with care. Sleep, and let the longest day carry you gently into night. A world seen from afar, Earth as a pale dot in the dark. From a distance of 3.7 billion miles, Earth looks like a tiny speck, smaller than a pixel. In 1990, Voyager 1 turned its camera backward and captured this fragile view, just a pale blue dot floating in a sunbeam. That single image holds all of us, every person, every animal, every story, every war, and every dream. A whole world, quiet in the dark. Space gives no applause. It doesn't make Earth feel small, it makes it feel rare, like a drop of ink in a vast blank page. From that distance there are no borders, no labels, no lines, only the soft swirl of clouds and the gentle turning of a blue marble. Astronauts say seeing Earth from orbit changes them. It's called the overview effect, a sudden sense of unity, wonder, and deep responsibility. To be alive on this dot is to be both fragile and lucky, protected by a thin atmosphere, warmed by a perfect sun, spinning in quiet balance. The vacuum of space doesn't judge, it just watches. Earth hums, blows, and reflects light without asking for attention. As you lie still tonight, imagine drifting far away, watching the world from a safe, silent distance. Everything familiar becomes soft and small, but still beautiful. The nose of the day fades. What remains is this: you are here, on a dot that holds oceans, forests, and breath. It is enough. Let the thought of that distance bring closeness. You belong to something vast, and you are never truly separate from it. When Earth was another planet, hothouse, snowball, and everything between. Earth hasn't always looked like this. At times, it was a frozen sphere, entire oceans locked in ice. At other times, it was a hothouse, steamy and green from pole to pole. Life has adapted through every version. During the snowball Earth periods, simple organisms clung to warmth beneath glaciers. During hothouse times, lush forests grew near the poles. Volcanoes, asteroids, shifting continents, they've all helped Earth change costume again and again. Each chapter left behind hints etched into rock and ice. Dinosaurs thrived in a much warmer world. Mammals rose after a cosmic winter. Plants evolved new forms as the air changed its mix. These shifts were slow, silent, and unstoppable. Earth breathes in epochs, not hours. Its changes aren't mistakes, they're transitions. The world you know is just one version in a long story. A calm moment between extremes, a season of balance, delicate and temporary. When you walk outside, you're standing on land that was once ocean, beneath skies that once carried no oxygen. Everything familiar has been unfamiliar before. And yet, life continues. Adaptation isn't noisy, it's persistent. Quietly, life bends without breaking. Tonight, you are part of that continuation. Your breath is the breath of creatures who survive cold, heat, and silence. Let that reassure you. No matter what changes come, Earth remembers how to endure, and so do you. The silence that holds it all, outer space, inner peace, and quiet perspective. Space is not empty, it is filled with silence. A silence so vast it becomes a presence, not an absence. It holds everything, stars, galaxies, and the quiet passage of time. Earth floats in that silence like a candle in the dark, a fragile flame flickering in an infinite stillness. Outer space isn't cold in the way we think. It is beyond temperature, beyond sound. It simply is a canvas of quiet holding everything that moves. That quiet reaches you, even here, even now. In the hush before sleep, it touches your thoughts, expansive, steady, kind. The light from stars takes millions of years to arrive. What you see above is ancient. Echoes of fire still visible long after the source has gone silent. The cosmos is patient. It unfolds without hurry, without need for witness. Its calm is an invitation to slow down. You are made of stardust, carried through time by silence. Your atoms were once inside stars. Your breath is part of that rhythm. In sleep, we return to that vastness. We drift through thought, memory, and space. We soften, like shadows at dusk. There's no need to rush toward understanding. Some things are simply meant to be felt, like stillness or peace or gravity. Tonight, let the silence hold you. Let the stars speak in light. Let your heart, like the earth, turn quietly in the dark. You've now wandered through 40 soft truths about Earth, each one a quiet thread in a much larger fabric. Together they've shaped a story not of noise or urgency, but of slow rhythms and patient balance. This planet, with its drifting continents, blowing animals, silent clocks, and ancient skies, is not in a rush. It evolves in whispers, not commands. You are part of that. Your life, your breath, your sleep, they all follow nature's gentle pace. Every soft fact you've heard tonight is a reminder. The world is complex, but it doesn't demand your constant attention. It keeps spinning, rivers keep carving, stars keep shining, whether you're awake or resting. So now, let the thoughts loosen their grip. Let your breath fall into step with the planet's quiet rhythm. Sleep is not a pause, it's a return to stillness, to safety, to something older than thought. Close your eyes like the sun closing behind the horizon. Let the quiet facts fade into dreams tonight. You don't need to do anything. Just drift. The earth is still turning, and you are gently, deeply, wonderfully asleep.